Okay, so for this part of the video, I had to turn the camera around so I could get a better view and more properly explain all this. So we were talking about the exercises in the Y shape, the exaltation. So if you look right here, this little person. I do this really fast and I kind of sketched it up, but there's my little person with the hands up in the air. So what this is a drawing of is the energy vortices that are around the body. You could call them energy matrices, multi-physics matrices. This is the energy that's around the body, and this is the heart center right here. And we have two spiraling energies going opposite directions, one going upwards, and then that comes around right here and meets at the equator area. And I'm using that word for a reason. And then there's also another one down here for the energies that we are like recycling and redoing. Okay, so and these are the new, this is the reprocess energies as it comes in anew, because it goes back to the heart. You can see everything goes back to the heart, and then this is coming from the heart going back, and it's renewed. So, and you can see I made these triangles here. These triangles are a representation of the energies, and the triangles are actually obviously three-dimensional, and they can be cones as well, or they can be the three-pointed triangles. I'm drawing a blank. Sometimes when this happens, when you're trying to do really good stuff like that, especially if you're a targeted individual, you get these little blanks. And also because there's aluminum sprayed all in the air, young people are all getting senior moments now. Tetrahedron. Okay, see, I just needed to take a minute and let it come through. So there we go. And that's why I drew it right here. And what I was explaining to him is when you put your hands up in the air like that, you are activating, you're like giving conscious energy to the chalice. The exaltation is the chalice. And if you look down here, I drew a picture of the chalices, and we'll get a little more into that after I explain some stuff because it gets a little deep with the chalice. But if you take these two triangles using your spin and you use phase conjugation, which we're about to talk about in a second, but what that does is it takes these are phases, these are like levels, octaves, these are phases, and it takes these and it compresses them into the heart to be understood as one cohesive, coherent understanding of everything, of infinity, because this is 0 point. This is able to do this to infinity. So once you get the coding, once you understand the algorithm of phase conjugation, which is actually the truth of unconditional love is the ability to see that every point of view has a purpose. Not necessarily about right or wrong, but every point of view has a purpose, and it teaches us something very important. Therefore, they're all valuable. Okay. And so that's what unconditional love sees, because, unconditional love sees beyond just right now as well. And it sees all of the nows that link together. So it sees the reasons why a person acts how they act and understands that with compassion. And so from that compassion, compression, from that, they are able to, recycle out a new understanding, because it goes back to the heart, and then the heart brings it out to the top again. This is a figure 8. The figure 8 runs through here as well. You see that? That's a figure 8. There you go. So that's another, this is all symbolism is formed into this. So the compassion of every point of view enables us to understand the healing, and in a sense, you quote unquote walk the cat backwards, so you can see why they act the way they act, why they do what they do, and with compassion you can then reverse that trauma and that separation that occurred, disassociation, things like that. So, and we can get full awareness. So that's what all this is about. And so when you do that, you bring these two tetrahedrons together and you create your mer-ka-ba, which becomes a mer-ka-na and a mer-ka-ba. And that just has to do with the higher vibration of this as it gets more and more attuned. So if you notice, I did this in green because it has to do with the heart chakra. Really, the top would also be representative of blues and violets, ultraviolet, and the bottom would be your infrareds. So, and that'll come into play later too. And if you look at this area, you'll see these two sections that are created on the top and bottom on either side. So it's really 4 quadrants of energy, 4 little sections. And that is represented in the butterfly. Transformational butterfly. That's what that stands for, from the caterpillar to the butterfly. And you can look up, there's a crop circle with a human with butterfly wings. That's what this is all about. And I also drew it in green. And this is the shape of a torus. So if you look, it's also the shape of the torus is the shape of the donut. So this is the center of the donut, the core, and then you have your exterior area. So that is also known in history or in symbolism as the apple. And that has a lot of connotations, of course. So we know all about the bitten apple. This is the forbidden knowledge. This is the knowledge that's about learning how to be creator yourself. And doing that with unconditional love, bing, 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 is important. Because if you leave out anything, what comes out is distorted. And so what you manifest is distorted. So that unconditional love, that phase conjugation, compression, that 0 point energy, that's what's created here. This is infinity. Infinity is everywhere, but when we make this spiral shape, what we're doing is we're taking all the energies to where there's a void in the middle. And that void actually proves to us that it's not void at all, that it's filled with infinite energy. So when you are creating the spiral, what you're actually doing, when all this energy compresses into that center, that's the key to 0 point. When it compresses into that center, what it is doing is it is becoming the stillness with infinity. And as it melds into that infinite stillness, it's like the stillness that created the fractal, that created everything. It's now moving back into that. And from moving back into that, it can, oh, where did my kitty go? I was going to point to her. It can walk the cat backwards and they can redo that coming out harmonically. So it's just a process of rewinding everything so that you can see where the errors were and redoing them. And that's what happened at 0 point, because at 0 point, that is the stillness from which everything was birthed. So when things go back to the stillness, they didn't understand. They learn how they got to the stillness so they can come out of the stillness with purity. It's a process of understanding this energy. When you start understanding this energy, you can start to purify. You can start to understand creation. And if you notice, the inside of an apple has 5 little seeds, like a star. And that star is going to come up down here, actually. So we'll move over just a little bit. So we're going to go from this to here. So this shape and this shape are related, obviously. So you can see the quadrants again. Let's look at the quadrants. And we can look up here. This is the Earth. The Earth has the same similar torus shape. So this could be the Earth as well. At every center is this atom, black hole, which is also a white hole, same thing. So then we have the Earth here, which is also very similar to a 4-leaf clover, which they call good luck. Okay, so let's look down here at the shape right here. Let's get a little bit deeper into that. My arm was hurting, my elbow. So I'm going to hold up a carving that my husband did of the flower of life. Ooh, nice, right? Okay, so let's look at one of these lines right here. Let's look at this one little pod. Let's see if I can... There we go. See that one little pod in the center of the screen? That's a seed. That's like a seed, right? And you can see how there's a string of them. And that string goes in different directions, right? Now imagine if this wasn't just flat, but it went in all directions. So you have 2 coming out from the top and bottom as well, and it goes through the back as well. So imagine that. That's all directions. So look at those seeds, and let's look at these spirals. Okay, see these spirals? These spirals... Oops, I don't know why I was going to turn that. All right here. Okay. They're just spread out right here, right? So we could see. And so at the center, that's the 0 points right here. Okay, that's what we had up here. If my hand's a little shaky, it's because I was holding the camera up for a while. So My elbow was starting to hurt a little. So, and then these are just turned on their side. The butterflies, the four-leaf clovers, you can see that. So this is how all this is strung together. This is like you're taking this and you're adding to it this part of the shape. So what you're seeing in the flower of the life is just this central section right here. This spiral that's coming together. What you're adding to right here, those are the torus. That's the whole outer shape. This is what's projected. This is also your projection of reality. This is your projection or your projection system. It comes from the heart. And the pineal gland as well. They work together. And you also have your gut system. These all three work together to help you to understand things. And the chakras are involved, of course. So these 7 chakras, and then you also have higher ones, because these toruses are actually fractally nested upon each other. So each chakra has one, and then you have many of them, and they also interloop. So when you look at this shape as well, you can look at these circles as the torus circles as well, and you can see that they interloop. Our toruses interloop, and also for every torus like this that you have nested ones inside. Okay, and those interloop. So that's just a little bit of a fractality woo for you there. So these are the seeds that we were looking at. They make the flower of life. All right, so this right here, and just so you know, I did go to the University of Texas at Austin. I did not finish, and I thank God for that, because I have many bills and they would have tried to indoctrinate me. I was a pre-med student. All the books for pre-med and medical school are written by the pharmaceutical companies, so I didn't need that. Meditation is key. Silencing the mind, which gets you to that silent point there. So what you learn, I did learn a few things though, and I was in advanced sciences, and I've been in gifted and talented since I was a kid, which has to do with the stupid CIA stuff and MK Ultra stuff, which I have in other videos, but for another time. So this right here is the center of the atom. You have your protons and your neutrons, okay? Then you have your electron clouds here. And if you'll notice, they are in the clover shape. And this was, of course, a 2-dimensional version. It is all dimensional. It's 3-dimensional, but it's all dimensional because they're, like we said, there's fractal, they're built on top. So then you have these little balloon shapes, and then there's a balloon here, of course, and one on the other side. So it's like it's a cross. It's an iron cross, and that's where that comes from, the iron cross shape. And that's what they see when they take pictures as well. They see this iron cross shape. That's what they see when they take the pictures. So what this is the higher order phase syncing math. Oh, luck. That's what I was drawing here. What luck really is. I drew the arrow there. What luck really is higher order phase syncing mathematics, or probability to certainty. So that's what this, it's syncing all the phases of possibility. So each of these are like, see how this vibration right here of a scalar wave, waves are not actually just up and down, they're actually spirals. So that's why this is a spiral. It's not just up and down, it's actually spiraling. So that's what this is. That's why I drew it this way as well, to show you that it's actually a spiral. So this is a very large vibration, and they're getting smaller. Okay, so we're phase syncing them. We're taking them and we're contracting them together into the 0 point. So that's why we call it phase syncing or phase conjugation, and it puts everything down to the one, the certainty. So then, so let's go to the chalice. This is where things get a little bit more intense. Give me 1 second. My back is hurting. Let me do a little stretch. Okay. Holding my arms. I'm holding my arms up, and there's a desk next to me, so I'm having to like kind of hunch over it and around it. Okay. To get the camera right. Okay, let me sit down. There we go. Okay. So this part gets a little bit, just a little gory. So just to let you know, viewer discretion advised. So right here, and yes, I did teach my son these things because, our family has had traumas and stuff like that. He, of course, has not, thank God. not in the ways that we are speaking about, but they are important. It's important for people to know what's going on, and I explained this to him in a very spiritual way, and he is aware anyway. I do a lot of research, and I find it important to make sure that that we grow up aware. I was going through these things, certain things, and other children are going through these things at his age. So it's important for us to be delicate and appropriate, but also, be informative and not hide the truth. So we have the chalices here, and that is what is involved up here. See, the triangles are the chalices, and this is the bottom of the cup, right? Or the base of the cup right here. Okay. So we have the top energy coming in and the bottom energy being recycled. So this is, light, sun, chlorophyll, food, the wine, purple energy, that's what that really stands for. The wine is it's a UV, it's a purple energy. And then down here we have the coming, what comes out. So that can be poop or the period blood that women do not use. That's it can be recycled in gardening and things like that, to help inform the soil what the body could use help with as far as nutrients, because everything is actually informative. This is all information. So, but that's a deeper issue. People tend to have they're like, oh God, blood is all evil, but there is purity in the period blood, and no, you don't have to drink it. I'm not saying that. I mean, whatever. So, but that's part of the truth of that issue with that. So, but we want to look over here, and you can see that the exalted cup, that's 0 point energy. Okay. And the inverted cup, that's the blood of life. Okay. So neither is good or bad. That's not good or bad. They're both important. Okay. And 0 point energy is life. It's unconditional love. It's consciousness. It's infinite consciousness. So when we are unconditional love, using the pure physics of phase conjugation to take all points of view, all colors of the rainbow to equal the white light of truth, then, we are experiencing unconditional love, infinite consciousness. But when we slow that process down and we're like leaving out essences, we're slowing down the 0 point, the infinite energy. So it's just slowing down infinite energy for us. So we're not getting all of the data, and therefore we are not projecting a reality that is full truth. It's veiled. So what happens if you invert the cup and put the cup on top? So this is, the stars that we see, that stands for the human, the 5-pointed star. You can see it here too. It's in the butterfly. When you invert the cup, you invert the star, you get the upside down human. That's what that is. And we all know, we're all learning, at least a lot of people are learning, that this is the inversion of the sacred energy. This is how they take this and they turn it into something very negative. So, excuse me, I feel like I need to sneeze. Get it out, right? Get it out. So they take advantage of the chalice. That is the blood chalice, the inverted cup. And it usually creates situations of that. And they pervert that in all ways. So it prevents these things. It prevents release. And it prevents the proper decay of what needs to decay. So that they're preventing the decay of, this stupid monetary system. They're preventing, a lot of this stuff. So, and it propagates the